Okay, President Tolan, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Olivia. We call this meeting to order tonight at 7 p.m. For the audience tonight, I'm the president and serve as the presiding officer for tonight's meeting. Before we move forward, I'd like to announce that in response to executive orders issued by Governor Newsom, the city is conducting a teleconference public meeting utilizing Zoom video communications. This allows the city to continue to conduct essential business and comply with public health administration recommendations to protect the public and city employees, practice social distancing, and limit exposure by not allowing in-person public meetings. I'd also like to announce that the meeting link on the city's website is down. For public comments, please click on the link icon on the city's main page. To ensure that the public will be able to participate, public comments can be submitted as live comments during the Zoom meeting and via email at publiccomments@cityofglendora.org. Madam Clerk, would you please conduct the roll call?
Thank you, President Toland. At this time, I would like to conduct an oral roll call and request that each trustee respond with present when their name is called. Trustee Blum.
Present.
Trustee Flowers.
Present.
Trustee Landman.
Present.
Vice President Chu.
Present.
And President Toland.
Present.
All members are present. Thank you.
Thank you. Our closed session items. Public employee performance evaluation. A closed session will be held pursuant to Government Code 54957 to conduct an employee performance evaluation for the position of Glendora Library Director.
So we'll convene the meeting, President Toland. Convene the meeting into closed session.
Convene the meeting in the closed session. Sorry. Thank you, Elvia.
Yes,
Mark the time.
at 7:02. President Toland, we're going to wait about 30 seconds to allow our media specialist enough time to start the streaming live again. Takes them a couple seconds, so we're going to give them some time.
Thank you.
Okay, he's ready to go.
Thank you. We'll reconvene the meeting back into open session at 7:12 p.m. A closed session was held today pursuant to Government Code 54957, Public Employee Performance Evaluation of Library Director Stone. The board discussed the evaluation with the city manager. No further reportable action was taken. Erica, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. Okay. Okay, put your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Reordering of and additions to the agenda. Does anyone wish to reorder or add to tonight's agenda? Seeing no one. Okay. And we'll move on to the public comment period. The public comment period is now open. We invite members of the public to address the Board of Library Trustees on items listed on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, speaking once on both on and off agenda items. This is your time to speak uninterrupted. Please address your comments to me, the presiding officer. Public comments is limited to 30 minutes. If you would like to request to speak, select the raise hand icon in Zoom before the close of the public comment period. You will then be called upon when your turn is up to speak. Okay, have we received any public comments?
At this time, we've received no request via our public email and no request from the attendees to give public comment.
All right, thank you. And we shall close the public comment period. The board statements and reports. Do any trustees have any reports or announcements to make?
President Toland, would
Sorry.
this be a time that I should share information regarding the planning, or should I wait until the topic of the celebration?
We can come back to that under the board agenda items on item
Okay.
9, if that's all right.
Yes, sure.
Okay, then Director Stone, would you please report?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to be back with you again. You have in the packet and online our usual report of the director and the library divisions. And I have just a few additional comments or updates. First of all, I just wanted to mention that we are still working on our revamped detailed statistics structure that underlies the summary that we usually produce for you. We were working with about 70% of our staff hours in September and had some unexpected deadlines. So we will continue to put some significant statistics into the narrative that you receive, as we did this month, until we can get that underlying structure rebuilt so that we can produce a new summary for you. Let's see, since it's been rainy, I just wanted to report that the building is doing fine. To thank Public Works for coming to tarp over some of our book areas just in case, but it actually has stayed dry so far. So that's good news. And I also wanted to report that the City Council at its most recent meeting, did approve on consent calendar the reclassification of our vacant senior librarian position to a library services manager. So those are some updates for you. And last but certainly not least, I just wanted to make a verbal shout out to all of you who supported the Battle of the Books, and especially to the Friends Foundation for that. As you've seen in the report, it was 12 rounds and 99 questions, and the team that rose to the top was the Death Eaters. And we had just as soon as the morning after the event, we had over 150 views of the online version of that. So thank you everyone, and also to not only to the foundation and of course to Cindy and the public services staff and all of the volunteers, but of course our wonderful digital media specialists who work behind the scenes to make that sort of hybrid program magic. So with that, I will just defer to the written report that's in your packet, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I have questions. Okay, so first question. Well, first of all, I went to the Battle of the Books and I thought the live stream was seamless. It was perfect. Sound was on point, and you were really able to feel like you were there. So thank you to Greg and Craig for doing that. And then in terms of the director report, I did see a bullet point about Press Reader. So this is a completely new service to our library, right?
That's correct.
I love it. I went on, I had a hard time figuring out how to connect or log into it and get access to it. So maybe if you guys could, maybe you guys already have this planned out, but if you guys could make some formal instructions on the city website on how you can log into Press Reader. I think that's awesome because this will allow people to really connect with maybe their home countries and keep up with the news back there. Like for myself, I told my dad about it and he's pretty pumped about being able to read the newspaper overseas. So that's awesome. And then also while I was on the website, I did see that there are two boxes. One is linked to the Apple App Store as well as the Google Play Store. And they just link it to the actual website, the general website for those app stores. And I was wondering if maybe you guys could provide the actual links to the apps that our patrons would want to download rather than just that general homepage for the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. So I think that would be a little bit more helpful in helping people download those apps and get onto the eLibrary stuff. But I think I guess I didn't really have a question, but yeah, those were just my comments for that.
Thank you very much. I will mention that item number 6 is Cindy introducing you to some of these new online resources. So she may be able to address plans for instructional materials at that time. And certainly we can take that under advisement, as we can also the links directly to the apps themselves. So thank you for those suggestions and we will look into them.
I have a comment. Under the director's report, under administration, the very last page, Director Stone says we'll be meeting with human resources to discuss moving forward with compensation classification study of library positions. I have been concerned for a long time, probably 3 or 4 years, about the difficulty of getting new people into positions. And after they get in positions, the length of time that it takes them to process in and to become actually productive in those positions. And I have talked to Director Stone about that. And she has suggested that HR would be willing to come and talk to us about the difficulties of human resources in this climate. And I'm sure that they are many, but hopefully there are some things that maybe human resources will be able to do differently over time that will help with this, what seems to be always 1, 2, or 3 vacancies, and is kind of a rotation that is of concern. So that's my thought for the evening on the director's report. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to have HR come and speak with the board as Doris suggested?
I think that's a great idea. It will really, it will shed some light on what that process is like and give us more information in regards to, you know, why it takes so long and what the steps are, so we know what to expect when these things happen.
I agree. I think it would be a great idea.
So that can be added as a board agenda item for a future meeting that was requested by Trustee Blum and seconded by Vice President Chu, and it will be added to the agenda.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think it will be of great help.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. We know that they are stretched, that they have openings there at the library, and the labor market is tight. We know that. Thank you for that. Are there any other questions or comments on item number 3? Okay. We move on to item number 4. Recognition of National Friends of the Libraries Week. Director Stone, would you please give us your report?
This would be my absolute pleasure. So it is indeed National Friends of Libraries Week. And I would like you to invite anyone who's listening to come to the City Council meeting a week from tomorrow night. That would be October 26th, 7 p.m., where there will be a proclamation in observance of Friends of Libraries Week. So that's one of several ways in which we are celebrating. We are very, very fortunate in our Glendora Public Library Friends Foundation, and not just the fiscal support that they offer the library, but their spirit of belief in what libraries stand for and their willingness to contribute endless hours towards supporting that, and the way they message in the community to encourage that understanding of what library is about is all absolutely invaluable. We do, in fact, have with us this evening on the call, we have Executive Director of the GPO Friends Foundation, Maggie Lara, and I also see we have their treasurer, Kathy Boyer, on the line. Before we make rounds of comments, I would like to say a couple of things on behalf of the library, if I may. First of all, instead of a generic certificate this year, what we have in store for you is we have a card that we have prepared, and we are in the process of collecting comments from the staff and from the public with a form that we have provided that lists the things that the Friends Foundation helps bring to the community and to its users and to the staff as they help the public. The foundation helps bring Battle of the Books, bestsellers, crafts, downloadables, electronic newspapers, events and programs, literacy services, online learning, streaming services, Summer Discovery Challenge, teen activities, and more. And what we've asked is for people filling this out, staff and the public, to fill out the rest of this sentence. Because of these things, I can ... dot, dot, dot. And so we've started compiling the responses here, and we're putting it together in this big greeting card as a booklet for you to commemorate this year's Friends of Libraries Week. And I will share that so far we have responses that range from everything from, because of these things, I can stay sane during insane times, to, because of these things, I can stay informed, save money, get creative, keep busy, learn new things, up my skills, make the most of my downtime, and stay involved in my community. So yes, a very big thank you to the Friends Foundation. We will keep building on this at least through the Council Proclamation Day, and then deliver it to you as our thanks. I would also like to announce that Cindy, in leadership of the Public Services team and with the input of the library team in general, is about to launch a brag tag campaign. So these are kind of like dog tags, like they gave out during the Summer Discovery Challenge. And we have a new set of them in the making. And I can show you the very first one here tonight. This is one for homework help. It says get homework help now on one side. And on the other side is a library branded QR code that will take the brag tag owner directly to a homework help, where they can use their library card to access that resource. And along the bottom, it says supported by the GPL Friends Foundation and the Glendora Public Library. So we really appreciate, among other things that the foundation does, is helping us think of new ways to bring these resources out into the community. And because of some of the brainstorming that we did with them, this is kind of a brainchild of that brainchild of that brainchild. And we are delighted to be putting together a whole set of these for various resources in the e-library. So thank you, and we look forward to bringing you your own set of tags. And I would like to turn it back over to the president and to the rest of the trustees in case they have other comments or have anything they'd like to say.
I would like to say that Maggie and Brandy and the Friends of the Library Foundation board and all of their volunteers, your commitment to the library and raising funds and raising awareness and getting the word out for all of the events and things that they do is fantastic. It's a huge asset to the community. I'm so glad that the foundation is there, and this week I hope you feel all the love that those of us in the community can give you. So thank you guys very much.
I really want to express my thanks to the Friends Foundation for everything they do to help the community and to help the library. I truly appreciate all of their hard work. And as a former, the summer reading program participant, back from when I was in second grade, back in 82, was like, yeah, it would have 81. So it was the summer of 81, I joined in. And up until I think about like 1990 or so, I kept going. And I looked forward to the summers primarily because of the summer reading program that the Friends of the Library sponsored. And I truly appreciate all of the hard work and your imagination and your support. Thank you. And also I love Night on the Plaza. It's my favorite event of the year. I never miss it.
Thank you to the Friends over the years. My goodness, the library would not have been what it has been able to be if it weren't for the Friends. And it's just the hard work and interest and love of the library that keeps the Friends and the library very friendly. So we do appreciate you.
I'm very pleased to know of this recognition week, and I will be in attendance on October the 26th to join in that celebration. I'd like to add that since the time I stepped into leadership at the Glendora Public Library, I've come to better understand the inner workings of our own library system, but also all the ways that the library has historically partnered with, depended on, and sought out the Friends of the Glendora Public Library. So I say cheers to the Friends Foundation, cheers to your staff, your board, and your volunteers. And I'm looking forward to many more years of partnership together.
I would also like to say thank you. You guys know I've been part of the library since I was a little kid, so I've benefited so much from the library because of the Friends Foundation and everything that they do for the library. And so I'm so happy that you guys are always busy celebrating the library, and we finally get a chance to celebrate you. So thank you.
I just have a curious question. Knowing that I really didn't know always that it was a national foundation, when did that begin? Do you know?
Do you mean when did National Friends of Libraries Week begin?
Well, when did National Friends of the Libraries begin?
Oh, it's not a national agency. It's a national week of celebration of different friends groups of the library.
So you aren't joined with any other group?
That's correct. It's not an association.
Okay.
It's a chance for everyone to celebrate their friends of their library.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you.
So if that's getting thrown back to me, I would love to invite anyone here from the Friends Foundation if to say a few words if you would like. We're so glad to have you.
All right. Yes, it's nice to be celebrated for a week, and we so appreciate the partnership that we have with the library. I know what makes the foundation and the community and the library so strong is the tightness of the relationships. And it's so we're always looking at new opportunities to create these relationships with the community, with the library, and with the people that you serve every day. It's been an exciting season for the library and for the foundation, and we are grateful to be a part of that new and kind of reinvigorated excitement. We see great things already happening, and looking into the future, I know the board and
It looks like we're having some technical difficulty,
it's often
Maggie.
okay.
You were cutting out. I think we might be back. Why don't you try now?
Okay. Probably a cue to wrap it up and keep it short, but on behalf of the entire board, Bo Gutzweiler is our president, and Kathy, who is present here today as treasurer, will just want to say thank you for letting us join you on this exciting journey. And we look forward to seeing what the next years bring for all of us, especially the citizens of Glendora.
Well, thank you, everyone. And I just got a text message from Cindy. Thank you, Cindy, who says, according to the website, it looks like this is the 16th annual National Friends of Libraries Week. So, so with that, I turn it back over. Thank you.
Five. The update on the Brown Act Executive Orders, AB 361, and teleconference to public meeting. City Clerk Communications Director Kathleen Sussman, would you please share your report?
Thank you, President Toland. Tonight, I'm here just to provide a really brief update on public meetings. As most of you know, back in March of 2020, several executive orders have been passed that have modified the Brown Act to allow the city to conduct teleconference or virtual meetings. Recently, those executive orders expired on September 30th of 2021. But because of certain protocols in place, the governor decided to sign Assembly Bill 361, which allows under certain conditions for us to continue to do virtual meetings under certain conditions. Those conditions tend to be there. One of the stipulations is there has to be a state of emergency, which we currently have declared through the governor's office. In addition, the city council or the legislative body has to actually adopt a resolution finding certain findings of fact every 30 days during this period to ensure that the requirements are being met and that there hasn't been any change in the protocols in place. Currently, while numbers have gotten better depending on what week you're looking at, the two main protocols that we still have concern about are the vaccination protocols versus the non-vaccination and how you track that. And then the really big one really is the masking. One of the main reasons that we have decided to continue to move forward with virtual meetings is that we have found that doing a hybrid, which would allow virtual and in-person meetings when masking is required, it tends to be very difficult for people who have to wear the masks to, one, be understood, and two, sometimes it is even for those viewers, it's hard to tell who's speaking. So because of the masking component or the regulation, currently council has decided to continue to conduct virtual meetings. There will be a resolution on the council's meeting on the 26th to revisit this and to make another determination. As of right now, the state only requires you to wear a mask if you are unvaccinated indoors, but LA County requires whether you're vaccinated or not vaccinated, requires masks within any indoor facility, which is how our public meetings get classified. So as of this point, the city has not added any additional requirements, but I will be providing regular updates on this matter, and I'm available to answer any questions you might have. Any questions? Thank you, President Toland.
Thank you. Thank you for that update. We'll move on to item 6, online and on the go e-library opportunities.
Yeah, President Toland, just really quickly, if you could, you're coming in very, very softly. So we're raising our volume, but I know it's probably difficult for folks to hear.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Item 6, online and on the go e-library opportunities. Director Stone, would you please share your report?
Well, I would be happy to, but in this case, I am going to turn it over to our library services manager, Cindy Romero, and she will take you on a little tour. Cindy.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me this evening, and good evening to the community as well. So today we are going to be taking a look at some of our resources that are available on the go. I know Trustee Chu was mentioning some of them just a little while ago. We are going to take just a quick tour. So for everyone from home, the best way to start accessing any of the library's e-resources is from the library's website. So glendoralibrary.org. We'll take you to the page that you see here, and then we'll click here on e-library. this is going to open up our brand spanking new eLibrary page that was just debuted on Friday. So a huge shout out to Greg Morton, our senior digital media specialist, for giving us a nice refreshed look for this page. I know it was a ton of work and a tight deadline for him to get this done for the meeting tonight. So our Glendora eLibrary page is here. All of our electronic resources do require a library card to access them. For any of our community that does not currently have a library card, of course, you're welcome to come into the library and we'll get you a library card here, or you can click here to apply for an electronic card. So this will take you to one of our Polaris pages where you can access the information to get an e-card. Once you do submit, make sure you write down that number. There's going to be a number at the end. It'll say, this is your library card number. Don't forget to write that piece down or print that page or screenshot it to be able to keep that page, because you will need that and your PIN number that you'll assign during registration to access these resources. I was going to say something in there. Oh, right. So along with some of the other technical difficulties that we've been having today, the reason that we're streaming this meeting, our eLibrary has run into a few technical difficulties today. So I will be showing you how to get to everything. We may not be able to actually look at some of the resources, but you are always welcome to come into the library, give us a call, come on in, and we are happy to show you how to get into them from inside the library. Now, as Brianna mentioned earlier, we do have links to the App Store and the Google Play Store here. It was recommended that we link these to the app stores themselves, not into the individual resources, because then each one of those links would need to be updated manually every time those links change. And so it's quite easy for us to get outdated links on the website that way, and then make it even more frustrating for people to access those resources. The other piece to this that will be coming hopefully before February 28th will be our brand new Kapira mobile app for the Glendora Library. And so anybody that's using their mobile device to access these will be able to go through the app, which will make it much, much easier to access it. As we've redesigned the page, we took a look at what people might be looking for as they're accessing resources. So rather than listing them all in alphabetical order or all by, can't think of another way to organize them, we decided to take a look at what people might be looking for. So if you're looking for homework help, you can open up this menu. And of course, you're going to have Brain Fuse. This is going to be one of our big ones. This is our live homework help. This one's super exciting. I really like this one. I mean, I really like them all, but this one is actually supported by the Friends Foundation. This is the one that the tag that Janet showed you a little while ago goes to. This is that one. Sorry, I got all excited. And this one is the live homework help. So students kindergarten through 12th grade and even into college can connect with a live tutor that can help in math, science, English, social studies of all levels. They connect live. They can also connect with different, we'll take a look at some of the stuff that you can do. Live tutoring, a writing lab. Students can actually submit their papers into a tutor, have it marked up just like a teacher would. It'll get returned to them within 24 hours so that they can make those corrections before they turn in their paper. How cool is that? You can send in a question. There's a language lab for live help for language learners. And this is one that's really kind of cool. There's a chess tutoring available for any of our chess enthusiasts. You can get some help to improve your chess skills. So that is Brain Fuse. And then we also have Britannica School, California Missions, some research databases that are here for as you're looking to get help with your homework. Next on our list is newspapers and magazines. So a couple of these are actual databases where you can go in and you can search. I'm not going to show all of them because it would take us till like this time tomorrow if we actually went into all of the resources. You can search current topics. You can search, you know, I'm doing a research paper on something. Completely out of my brain right now. You can do a research paper on the sick out that's going on at the schools, and you want newspaper articles on that. You can go in and search those, and it'll return articles from a variety of newspapers all across the country. So that is America's News and this one down here, ProQuest. We have both of them because each of them has some unique papers. America's News actually has the San Gabriel Valley Tribune, while ProQuest has the LA Times. Both of these are archived and searchable for back issues. So that's one of those things that's just a little unusual. So LA Times is available there. The New York Times, this is a different one. So if you wanted to access the New York Times, you'd need to redeem this code, and then you'd have access to unlimited articles through the NewYorkTimes.com. So that one's set up just a little bit differently. The Press Reader. Now, this is the one that Brianna was talking about. This is our brand spanking new one that just came online that has articles from, or it has 7,000 different publications available from 120 different countries, and that can be translated into 17 different languages. So Press Reader, and this one I'm not going to be able to get much further into just because of some of the technical challenges that we're having today. When you do want to access this one, if you go to pressreader.com or the app, click on the little person and then click library or group. Then when you search Glendora Library, when I can type, our library will come up and it'll prompt you for your library card number and PIN. And unfortunately, this is where I'm going to stop on this one today. I'm not going to be able to get any further, but you can take a look at some of the publications that are available. We have the LA Times, and these ones are replica versions. So when you open up the LA Times, as you can see, it looks like the paper will. If you wanted to look at Forbes, this is the current cover of Forbes. And these are all as soon as they hit the newsstand. So there isn't a delay, there isn't a moratorium on these to wait until a week later so that they can sell the print and then the online comes in. These are released as soon as they become available to the public. The San Gabriel Valley Tribune is another one that has a replica version. From home, at this point, it's going to ask you for your library card number. The system knows I'm sitting inside the library right now, so it doesn't do that to me. But if you see here, there's two different options. One, you can just search the Tribune collection for whatever it is you're looking for. You can search for articles on the Glendora Library and see what comes up. Or if you click on the bottom link, it will open up, potentially, a calendar, and you can look at today's front page of the Tribune, which is another thing if you want to read the paper the way the paper is read. And that way it includes all of the ads, it includes all of the back matter, all of that kind of content is available there, where that may not be available if you're looking just for the article search. So that is if you're looking at newspapers and magazines. If you're looking to research, you've got a school paper, you're trying to find information about local businesses, research is going to be where you'll go. So Britannica School is the online encyclopedias. Gale opens up into a variety of databases that include General One File, back files of scholarly journals, Gale in Context High School, opposing viewpoints. This is all material that those students are going to need as they're completing their research papers, and fully citable too, which is kind of cool. Data Axle, which is our formerly Reference USA, provides information and market research for different companies. Train and Learn. Now here's another one where we've gotten some new resources recently. So the State Library with the America Rescue and Recovery Act funding, no, it's the ARPA funding, American Rescue, forgot the P. Forgot the N. With the ARPA funding, the State Library is making available 6 new databases for all public libraries in California for workforce development. So things like EBSCO Learning Express that has career preparation, career and job accelerator. One of the neat things with this is you can study for, let's just say you wanted to go into law enforcement. Here is all of the information that you would need to study for all of those law enforcement exams. America Rescue Plan Act. Thank you, Janet. So Learning Express has information with core skills, basic computer skills, high school students, information to learn new skills, get into New careers. LinkedIn Learning, unfortunately, this is another one that this is as far as I get to go today because the system is not working. LinkedIn Learning has a lot of other career development skills. You can get information on computer skills classes. You can get, I was hoping I could get a little bit further on it. Resume building skills. You can learn leadership skills, all of these through online classes that are recorded. They're not live classes, so you can take them at any time. They are on demand. So LinkedIn Learning is another one. Skillshare. This is a unique one that the State Library has provided us a certain number of 3-month memberships to Skillshare that includes their entire catalog of courses. And Udemy. This is not a new one for us. This is one that the Friends Foundation does help support. And this is 6,000 different online video courses. And this does have a lot of career development skills. It also has language learning skills and some just personal development. If you want to learn some cooking skills, if you'd like to learn photography skills, if you'd like to learn yoga, there was a yoga and a Tai Chi on there previously. So Udemy has some unique personal development as well as professional development courses on there. Find a new job. This is another one under Job Now, Vet Now that the state supports for us. And this one will let me in even with my library card number. So this has live job coaching, a resume lab, and a live veteran navigator to help connect some of our veterans with the resources that are available for them. So unemployment assistance, job resources, live interview coaching, all of that available through here from the State Library. And of course, download and stream. So this is where our ebooks are located. So the Cloud Library and Overdrive are really the mainstays for our ebook and audiobook collection. Both of those can be searched through the Simply E app. So but if you're looking for ebooks and audiobooks, my recommendation is to download the Simply E app, and you have access to both our Overdrive and our Cloud Library collections through that one with your library card number. Press Reader, we've already taken a look at, and Hoopla includes a lot of movies, audiobooks, ebooks, comics, TV shows, all available from any device, all with your library card. And you see at the bottom, all of these resources are supported by the GPL Friends Foundation, the State Library, and the City of Glendora. We do have at the bottom, and this is a work in progress, Brianna, some instructions on how to access some of the resources. We do have some information on Press Reader, and we can certainly add that as one of the menus there as a help screen. And I would be happy to answer any questions that anyone has.
I have one.
Yes.
This is all free. There's no additional fee.
This is all available to no charge, for no charge to the community. It has been paid for by the State Library, the City of Glendora, or the Friends Foundation. Yes, it is available at no charge to the community.
That is wonderful. What a fantastic resource. Oh, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Would we be able to see stats in the future on like how many people are using each one of these services so we can evaluate and see what is being utilized and what's not?
We do look at those monthly. If the board wanted to have those, I'm sure we can work with Janet to see how the best way to get those to you.
Does anybody else have any comments or questions?
I guess I have one last question. Does Press Reader have the Financial Times?
No, it does not.
Oh, okay.
Nor does it have Der Spiegel.
Okay, got it. That's it.
Yes, believe it or not, that was one of the first things that we looked for as well.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Great report.
Thank you. And again, if anyone has any questions future on, if you'd like to have more of a demonstration on your own devices, the library, where our staff is always willing and able to help. So you're welcome to give us a call or come into the library for help.
That's great. Thank you, Cindy. Okay, so we'll move on to the consent calendar. Does anyone wish to comment on items number 7 and 8 of the consent calendar? No?
Okay, so then we can have a motion then to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
I think that was Vice President Chu, is that correct?
Yes.
Second,
Second, yes, and Trustee Blum second. I'll take a roll call vote. Trustee Blum,
aye.
Trustee Landman,
Hi.
Trustee Flowers,
Aye.
Vice President Chu,
Aye.
and President Toland.
Aye.
And that passes 5-0. Thank you.
So we move on to the board agenda items. Discussion of the 50th anniversary of the current facility for the Glendora Public Library, as requested by Trustees Landman and Chu. Director Stone, would you please share your report?
Absolutely, thank you. Next slide, please. So we're just going to start out with a little bit of a review of how we got to this point before we begin our next piece of reporting out on this. Next slide, please. So in recent meetings, I have identified some different goals that we would like to achieve by celebrating the 50th anniversary of the current library building. So just a quick review of those. Because of this anniversary, we intend that the community will be reintroduced to the brick and mortar library as a hub for information, entertainment, and connection. See the library building as one component of a service package that also includes opportunities out in the community, at home, and online. Learn about library projects to capture, preserve, and share the community's own resources of local history. Next slide, please. And two more. We intend the community will reconnect with community members, fellow volunteers, and staff that enriched their world of ideas over the last half century and gain a greater understanding of the role of the library building, its challenges and needs, and ways that they can help develop its future. So as we move forward, we're keeping in mind all of those goals as we design the celebration of the 50th at 140 South Glendora. Next slide, please. So some of the other things that we are considering as we design this approach, Brown Act compliance, as we have assistance from library board members, we're making sure that we are staying compliant and not having meetings that are not public and transparent. We are making sure that there's ongoing guidance from library management and administration. We're making sure we're respectful of other demands on the city media specialists' time. We're keeping aware of the different roles of official and unofficial messaging and outlets of information. And as I mentioned before, direct contribution of the celebratory elements to those goals that I also read through earlier. Next slide, please. So in the written report, still to come was a meeting that did in fact take place on October 12th, 2021, after the report was written. That was me, library staff, appointed members to that task force, Tolan and Landman, and representatives from the foundation. Next slide, please. So this evening at this point with that quick review, I mentioned one other thing I wanted to add verbally was that we also, as a result of the last meeting, asked library board members to send in their ideas which I did collect and synthesize and send out to the task force teams that were identified as of that October 12th meeting. So those have been shared with the teams that are working on the different celebration elements. So from here, what we are recommending is that the board hear reports from President Toland and Trustee Landman about that exploratory and brainstorming meeting regarding the 50th anniversary of the current library facility, that we continue the discussion if that's needed, and then again, if needed, provide direction to the appointed trustees, to volunteers and or staff. And with that, I turn it back over to President Toland and Trustee Landman.
Director Stone. Erica, do you want to kick us off?
Certainly. Okay. Some ideas that President Toland and I were discussing. Now, first of all the ideas that the board came up with were amazing. It would be wonderful if we could like implement everything. And my personal thought is, I know like when people have a birthday, I've noticed it turns into like a birthday month. I don't know. I don't know if your friends do the same. All of a sudden it's like birthday month and I'm all, what's going on here? I thought it was only one day. But, you know, we were just thinking like have it kind of like a birthday year type thing, celebrating the library's 50th, the library building's 50th. So just kind of stretch out a few little celebrations along the way. But one big thing would be possibly to consider would be possible ribbon cutting for Monday, February 28th, 2022, and have people in attendance to like re-acknowledge the day the door opened back in 1972. Possibly have a potluck. And, you know, back in the 70s, and I know the 90s, always it's popular to have like potlucks, but it was kind of a fun thing. Like there would be neighborhood or community potlucks. And Janet actually gave very good ideas when I met with her today, and I love them. So here's updated information just to consider. So these are all things that we're pondering. So nothing in stone or anything, but to go and actually have groups and clubs and organizations in the community, or there's a possibility that we could get some funds to have a little catered event from little restaurants in the community to have the potluck. So due to COVID, it's a little challenging right now with homemade food items coming out of people's homes, unfortunately. So it's just another little twist on it. But to have food prepared and presented for a particular event, I don't know. I know February is kind of a cold time of the year, so maybe push it out to sometime when it's a little bit warmer, like possibly June or so. And then we also, I don't know what you guys think about this, but another thing that was popular too with the potlucks and even in the 70s at community events was to have a cookbook. And Janet said, you know, we could go and have the community compile it with possible recipes. And another suggestion that she had made, which was very clever, I loved it, was to incorporate some of the food trends from the COVID time of 2020 through who knows when it will end. And we could have like modern recipes of now, I don't know, or even mix it with traditional recipes back from the 70s that was either your favorite to make during that time, your favorite that you had from a grandparent or a parent during that time, because you know, just different ideas, just trying to tie that 1972 flavor into the event. So that's the big thing. Let's see. Can we look at history? Oh, also to offer the cookbook on paper, but also electronic version as well. And let me see. And then I'm trying to set up a time to see if maybe the friends of the library would like to be involved in this as well. So, and President Tolan, would you like to add anything? Did I overlook anything? Skip anything?
No, I think, like you had stated earlier, February 28th is the date that I think, personally, I'd like to see something a little more austere, something more like a ribbon cutting ceremony or just some type of acknowledgement on that day. I think all those ideas are great, but they'll take time in order to implement. And I don't know that we have that coming up through the holidays. And this is something that we just sort of threw at the library and at the city. So I don't know that we'd be able to implement much more than that, but I'll open that up to the other trustees on your thoughts.
Madam President, I love the idea of having a date set aside to commemorate the official 50th anniversary move-in. If that date is February, as the calendar suggests, we certainly do not have a lot of time to make preparations for a grand scale event. In that case, I think that a simple ribbon cutting and maybe a guest speaker and some food would suffice. And to piggyback also on what Trustee Landman had said as well, if we have that as a kickoff for a longer Jubilee year with different offerings that pop out throughout, I think that will get our point across to the community, just how pleased and honored we are to be celebrating 50 years of our facility.
And I liked some of the suggestions that the fellow trustees came up with, in particular regarding having book talks or authors come and perhaps do book signings or book talks, or even just reading their book aloud. That's a great idea. There are a few in the community, but I don't know if any of you happen to have any contacts for the authors.
I think I'm also on board with the idea of having some sort of small scale event such as a ribbon cutting for February 28th. And I think that it would be awesome if we can get other community partners to come to the event as well. Give them an opportunity to share what they're doing in the community in Glendora as well. But yeah, small refreshments, ribbon cutting, and a guest speaker to just review why this day is so special to all of us. I think that would be a great idea.
I have no knowledge of anyone who was around in 1972, but I wonder if there might be any city councilmen who were on the council at the time. I haven't seen Culver Heaton around in a while. I don't know if he is well. Culver certainly knows everything about the city around that time. He was greatly involved in annexing proper land to the city, areas to the city at that time. And Culver has really, over the years, done a good job of talking about the city. As I say, I haven't seen him in a while, and he is no young man, so I'm not sure that he is well, but maybe someone who, 50 years isn't a long time ago. It's a long time ago, but there could be somebody 75 or 80 out there who is capable and was around at the time. I would really be interested in knowing why they decided we needed a building at that time. There had to have been a reason for the city to decide to build the building And that had to be a compelling reason, I assume. So I don't know what was going on in 72 to make this building happen. But I would be interested to know.
Stephen?
I love that idea. That would be such an honor to like be able to hear from someone from that time period who was going through all the to help us get that building. And then on top of that, I know I put in my ideas about gathering photos of the building at the time, and I mean, it might be too much to ask from the community to share photos with us, but I really think that would be a great idea if we could do some sort of call out. And I'm sure people have some sort of photos of when the library first opened, or throughout time, them in the library, or even at library events like Gingerbread House, or anything recent too. I think it would be great to see people's how they've been part of the library.
That's a great point. The Presbyterian Hospital was also built in 1972. So clearly there's a lot of work
Okay.
going on in Glendora that year.
Obviously, part of the reason was Glendora was growing at that time, probably rather quickly.
Yep.
We could always reach out to former council members and invite them as well, whether they were on the council in 1972 or not. I cannot remember when Lois Shade started on the council. I was trying to look that up. Does anybody happen to remember? Stephen?
Approximately 1981, 1982.
In the 80s? Okay. But that's also an idea, to reach out to various council members to join the celebration. Sue Bows. Sue Bow? Was it Sue Bauer? Bauer. When was she? She may have been on the council in 72.
Nope.
No, that was
it
the
was
1990s, Erica.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm not going back far enough. Okay, all right, sorry. I need the mayor photos on the wall still at the council meeting. I haven't been there for a while. In the chambers.
So are we agreed that we'll do something small on February 28th? Something just small and commemorative, and then as we flesh out some of these other ideas and work with other groups, maybe we could add to it throughout the year.
So
Yes.
may I offer the trustees a little bit of additional context here about what came out of the meeting on October 12th? Is that okay? Just so that the rest of the board knows, what was decided at that meeting was that the team that would focus on the celebratory event, like that gathering, the thing that's now being talked about as being on February 28th, that the team leaders for that, like the leadership for that is going to be President Toland and Trustee Landman. So they are pairing up to kind of head a task force to take those kinds of ideas and to come back and build on them so that we can they can take the lead in designing whatever that main celebratory event is. We also have another task force that is looking at creating exploring some sort of memorial or public art or commemorative installation somewhere along the lines of the trees that are in the Friends Room. Whether or not it needs to be a fundraiser is a separate question, but just to create some sort of public art piece. That team is still sort of under development. But we know that Trustee Landman is going to be at least one of the team members that is leading that exploration, and will come back again once they've developed ideas to come back to us with some additional information about that. And then the other components that we identified as we were talking together include some informational programming. So something that's more lecture-based, if you will, as opposed to the celebratory thing. Any media projects that go along with this, and then specifically the local history effort, that the leadership of that is going to be the library staff. And Trustee Landman has offered to be of assistance for that in whatever ways we need some additional muscle. So those are the three ways we have sort of identified task forces. So in the future, I think we can expect that that President Tolan and Trustee Landman will come back to talk more about their ideas as they plan sort of offline for the celebratory event. And they can, call on, on library staff, on Friends Foundation, on digital media as time allows for those people to, to brainstorm and help create those ideas. But they'll be leading the charge there. And we can expect Trustee Landman and whoever else works on the sort of public art memorial project to come back. And as library staff will come back to report on those other elements. So I just wanted to sort of share that structure with the rest of the trustees so that you kind of understand how this is going to get worked on in between meetings and what we can sort of expect at each meeting to hear back about and who we're going to hear back from. So I hope that helps as you decide whatever next steps you want to take.
Thank you for that. Is there anyone else that would want to work on the task force that Erica is on solely, the art installation or the historical viewpoint?
I see Stephen's hands.
I will, President Tolan. I'll help.
Thank you. That's great.
I would think the art installation could be a big celebration. I can see unveilings and people, and sounds good.
Doris, would you like to work with Erica on that one? No pressure. I know you're busy, but if you would like to, then that would be wonderful. But if not,
sorry, just a matter of protocol from a reminder that if Trustees Landman and Flowers are both working on that, we cannot have a third task force member from the board because that constitutes a quorum.
I'm sorry. I thought I would just assumed since Stephen is also president of the Historical Society that he would work with Erica on that aspect, but I shouldn't have assumed that. Thank you.
Perhaps we could also look for suggestions and ideas. If anybody has any ideas, you could always let me know.
So terrific. And actually, the best thing to do if you want to collect ideas from other board members is have them come to me so that we are not creating a serial meeting or anything like that by passing ideas along a chain, because this is going to come back to the board for consideration for official action. So we need to be careful about how those ideas are shared amongst board members, even if it's one-on-one and then a different one-on-one and a different one-on-one.
Indeed, that's perfect. It's you streamline everything perfectly.
Well, just let me know if you want to put a call out for something, and then I can act as a collection point for that sort of, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Janet.
Madam President, or Madam Chair, or also Director Stone, based on this discussion, it sounds like there's many moving parts and components as part of our plans for the celebration of a facility. I was wondering if it might be possible to have some type of visual tool to help see how one group works with another, like a flow chart or an organization chart. Things like that are very helpful for me as I process information.
I'm happy to provide you one from our October 12th, if that's all right. Janet, I'll send it to you if that's okay, just to make sure that I haven't missed anything.
Perfect.
Is that okay? Great, then I'll send that to you. Thank you.
So in the meantime, how many more meetings are the task force planning on having before our next board meeting. And then, so January would probably be the last like meeting to talk about what we're gonna do for February, right? So are you guys meeting once before each board meeting? Or are you guys meeting a couple times a month? I'm just trying to gather like how deep are we going into this?
We only have two prior to, because we have the November meeting where we all get together. December, we decided
Right, to cancel.
January. So really, we only have two. And I think next month's board meeting is really going to be centered on what we discussed in closed session. So you're right, we won't have much time.
In February, February, there would be one as well.
We should be.
Yeah, but everything
That's
should be
still
set
close.
down by then, right?
Yeah. And we just started planning. So it just started. We only, yeah, Tomoko and I just met on the weekend to plan. So, yeah.
The meeting with the with Janet and the Friends Foundation was just last week on the 12th.
It might help. I know this is floated around, but I just want to affirm the idea that that different parts of this puzzle can have different timelines, and whether or not it's a year-long jubilee, which my recollection was at October 12th, most of the players felt like there weren't a lot of resources for an extensive year-long gala. But however, that doesn't mean that that February can't be the kickoff for some, smaller several month projects or that sort of thing. February doesn't have to be the culmination. And I know that idea has already floated out there. I just want to affirm that in case people are feeling pressured by that month and date. Certainly one to mark, but there are lots of different timelines to consider. So yeah.
Okay. But to your point, Brianna, you're right. We only do have two more meetings together that are scheduled. We can come back. Can we agendize this again for the next board meeting? And then if at that time we don't feel like we've made enough progress, and if we need to add an additional meeting, is that something that we can do?
Yes, you are able to conduct special meetings. City clerk's team, is there anything we would need to know about that?
And no, if you've got a special meeting that you need agendized, you would let us know ahead of time so that we can have a sufficient time to notice the meeting and put it on base. But no, there's nothing else aside from letting us know that you need a special meeting on a certain day. It's 72 hours previous to the meeting is when you should be posting it. But a special meeting, because there's no telling when it's going to happen. As soon as you find out you want it, we have to post as soon as we can.
Okay. So if we could please agendize this again for the November, is it the November 18th meeting? The next one that we have here. And I'll come back with an update. And if at that time it doesn't seem like we're making enough progress in order to hit the February 28th deadline, maybe at that time we can decide to add a special meeting.
Do you need a second to re-agendize this, or is it okay? Or it just slides over to the next meeting?
It's considered unfinished business. So this would then come back with an update. Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Are there any other questions or discussion items on this? Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Okay, I think we can move on then to item 10, unfinished business. Report on planning for annual joint meeting with the City Council. Right. Director Stone, would you please share your report?
Absolutely. Next slide, please. And next slide, please. So this is, again, just a little, first of all, just a little bit of a review of the joint meeting as discussed so far, and progress that has been made since I last reported to you. So we do have some goals for the media presentation that is usually kind of the center point of our presentation to City Council. So in this case, the goals have to do with what the community was able to do during COVID-19 because of the library, has to do with the understanding the concept that COVID-19 was not a service interruption because our services are built to respond to whatever the environment is. COVID-19 just happened to be the environment at the time. Next slide, please. And a couple of other goals, just awareness that 2022 is the 50th anniversary of the current building, and that after seeing our presentation, viewers would be able to explain the opportunities arising from our staff expertise and how we'll be looking to develop those in the future. Next slide, please. So gave you a very brief outline of this last month in the written report. I'm going to flesh it out a little bit based on some suggestions that I have put forth to the digital media specialists. All of these are subject to change depending on several factors. But here's what's been proposed so far, just so you're aware of the direction we are heading. So first of all, there are 2 videos being proposed. And the first one is specific to the joint meeting. And there are 3 pieces to that first video. So Act 1, as our wizards are calling it, is the testimonial section. And basically, one of the tasks we are doing right now is creating a prompt that will elicit testimonials on what the library has empowered participants to do or to make them feel, and also possibly asking for images that evoke those ideas and that history. So we're going for a couple of elements there. And then also one of our tasks on our current list is to identify the possible recorded participants, and those may include current and former trustees, library users and volunteers, and longtime residents. Next slide, please. So then after the testimonial section, Act 2 would be the interview section. And again, just reiterating that all of these ideas are subject to change. These are just what's sort of floating out there on the table as I work with our wizards. Is first of all, the interview would outline the library's responses to recent challenges. Again, would illustrate here that COVID-19 was not a service interruption. And that one of our tasks right now is to identify possible interview candidates on the staff for this. Next slide, please. And then final section would be a narrative section, and we're working on drafting some script points. I've put just a few of them here. They deal with this continuing theme that the library is not just an inventory of ideas. It's the act of getting those ideas to the users in all the ways that humans need them. And that's one of the reasons why we are working so hard on describing what it is our staff really does. They assess public needs, manage changing services to meet those needs, measure the outcomes, and they start again. It's much more in depth than simply running a library. Next slide, please. So some more of these script points. The current building, we will talk about it as an anchor. It's a balance to this wonderful, rich and kind of abstract world of global information, which we also do serve. And those 2 things are counterbalances to each other. And the current building is also headquarters for those staff experts that we will already have referred to, these project managers. And this is a place that makes them accessible. They're also accessible out in the world of Glendora and in San Gabriel Valley, but this is their headquarters. Next slide, please. And the final script point is that together all the teams that help build the library, so the city, the community, the GPL Friends Foundation, we're looking forward to what this building as a gathering place and anchor and headquarters will look like in the next decades. So those three acts are what we're looking at for the presentation to City Council. Again, all subject to change. We're still batting around ideas. Next slide, please. As I've mentioned in prior reports, to help sort of focus all of the ideas that have come bubbling up in the last months, this idea was just to create a separate video audience and project regarding the 50 years in the current library building and a brief look into the future. And we're looking at making that sort of an installation in the Inside Glendora video series, where we can talk about the milestone of the 50th of the building, but also affirm that the library is more than the building itself. Next slide, please. So as we are the things that are helping to shape those ideas, the reason they're subject to change is because we're trying to figure out the best approach to the joint meeting. I know there's, we want to consider the possibilities that at some point we might be able to meet in person with council. So we want to keep that in mind. We want to time this appropriately with the 50th anniversary of 140 at South Glendora. So so just figuring out how those components integrate together, and also just the working workflow of our digital media specialists who are serving departments throughout the entire city. So as we work through these considerations, we'll be honing those ideas that I just expressed to you in the last few slides. Next slide, please. So I'm happy to answer any questions about this. Our really recommendation is simply to receive and file the report. But of course, next slide, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
I want to see the video. Golly, it sounds great.
Does anyone else have any questions? Okay. Can I request a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
I second it.
Thank you. That is a motion by Trustee Blum, a second by Trustee Landman, and I'll take a roll call vote. Trustee Blum,
Aye.
Trustee Landman,
Aye.
Trustee Flowers.
Aye.
Vice President Chu,
Aye.
and President Toland.
Aye.
That passes 5-0. Thank you.
The next agenda item is new business, which we have none. There are no new business items. So are there any closing comments by any of the trustees or staff? All right, seeing no one, this meeting is adjourned at 8:34